So 2004 Olympic trials was in Long Beach, California. And it was outdoors, which for people who aren't swimmers is tough because not only are you adding the outdoor elements, you're adding your own nerves and all of those factors. And so, I had turned 15 2 months before. So I was such a baby, terrified out of my mind, swimming against all these people that I looked up to. And I remember thinking, okay, I've got a shot. And then in the prelims, I gained 10 seconds.
No.
And I feel like we've not really talked about 2004.
No, that's why I'm so
Similarly,
excited.
with 2016, we haven't talked about. But yeah, I went in 400 IM, best event, best shot to make it. Actually came into the meet being ranked first, which was, you just feel like
are you kidding me?
Yeah, you feel like you have a target on your back.
Oh my gosh, at 15.
And just got so nervous. Like I felt really great in the first 100, which it's a 4.5 minute race. So I'm like flying and like, woo, I feel great. And then at the 250, the wheels came off and just slopped through the final 150 meters, which felt like it was 20 minutes and it was,
at least.
Under 2 minutes, and touched the wall, turned around and basically looked. And I think I got like fifth in the heat, but I gained 10 full seconds from my best time, which for people who aren't, like 10 seconds is an eternity to gain.
Yeah.
Like it's an atrocious race. Like, let's just call it out. It's an atrocious, and I never forget getting out and just feeling like I was kind of watching myself from above. And I actually remember Rowdy kind of like kneeling down and was like, no, Katie, I think you still got in. Meaning I think I still got in the top 8, which is insane. And so I ended up getting 6th. My heat just happened to be pretty fast in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay. So and that's why I was in lane 7, which is why 7 is my lucky number. I was in lane 7 and then obviously came back that night and got my SHIT together.
But how did you do that? Like at 15, you went from, because we get this question all the time from athletes where it's like you start off a meet. And again, this is so relevant to life as well, because maybe you head into a situation and it just starts off on the wrong foot.
Real bad.
Like you have, that's our real life, comparison is like your first race of an 8-day long meet and it's bad. Like,
real bad,
you literally came back that night, made it into finals, top 8. I mean, what were you thinking in between sessions? How were you able to literally turn that around and come back and make an Olympic team after adding 10 seconds in the morning?
I started with a foot-long sub from Subway.
So there we go.
Italian BMT for the win.
All questions.
So an Italian BMT, obviously.
And our new podcast sponsor is
Eat Fresh. So yeah, did that. And I honestly feel like it went, I remember having to warm down for like an hour to clear my lactic acid. It was so much pain, so awful. And then I feel like in a way, it almost freed me a little bit because it was like, all right, I pretty much just hit rock bottom out of the gate. This can't go worse.
now you can only go up.
100%. Like, and I actually had never really analyzed it like that, but I'm like, I feel like that it just kind of was like, all right, well, pressure's off. Yeah. I'm in 6th place. I swam horrible. Like, I almost felt like the target on my back had gone away a little bit. And I was like, all right, well, maybe this just, my whole goal was 2008. I wasn't thinking I was going to make my first Olympic team at 15. Like, I just wasn't thinking that. And I just remember coming back and getting in the warm up for the first time. And I was like, I feel so good. Wow. Like, that feeling when you dive in form and you're like, hell
nothing
yeah,
better.
like I am in,
this
Also way worse when that happens and you're like, oh, this is really bad. But we'll not talk about that. But yeah, I just remember getting in and I was like, okay, this could happen. Wow. And just to speed things up, because we have many more trials to go through, but I just remember feeling so calm. And I remember at the 250 turning and looking, shout out Caitlin Sandino, and seeing that I was ahead of her and in first place. And like, swimmers don't listen to this. I remember actually in the pullout doing a little turn my head to the right, which is like, you do not do that. And I looked and it was the best thing I did. I was like, I'm in first and I feel freaking good. And
I'm going to do this.
And I remember smiling on the last 15 meters of like, I'm making an Olympic team,
Which again, for reference, if you're smiling in the last 15 meters of a 400 IM, something's either really, really bad or really good.
Like there's still a pain, but like, but yeah, I just remember that. And then, ended up winning the 200 IM later that meet, but just still feeling this out of body experience and just felt so. I even also for swimmers, you don't have to have a perfect race in the longer races. I hit my butt on the wall on the backstroke turn.
a little butt tap.
Well,
Just a little something for the wall to remember you by.
Yeah. So that meet was crazy. I don't feel like I was ready to win both events at trials, if that makes sense, because then it's like, oh, you have to go make the Olympic or you have to go swim in the Olympics after that. Yeah. But I think, it was just, I look at these younger swimmers and I look at what happens when you start swimming really fast heading to trials. This, right? You swim one fast race and suddenly everyone's like, oh my gosh, like teenage prodigy, it's going to happen. And I had this like just literally physical response when I see that happening to people. It happened to Reagan Smith, right? It's happened to you. And you're like, oh my God, just let them be a teenager and let them just go into the meet and have fun.
Just let them keep doing what they're doing.
Yes, just go enjoy. But once that you can kind of feel that pressure, that's why I screwed up in the morning. It was just that pressure.